Hello everyone and welcome to another Tinfoil stream. How's everyone doing? As you can see, the judge outfit won for today on the costume poll, which you too can vote in if you join the Discord. If you want a link to the Discord, use the !Discord command in chat, no space, and it should give you a link. We have all sorts of fun tinfoil and conspiracy nonsense to take a look at today. How you doing, Mr. Blast? I know we talked a little earlier. Hope you're doing well, though, and enjoying your, Halloween marathon. Ray says, hey, Hannah, hey, chat, me and fam are driving around San Diego, sightseeing and stuff, so I'll probably be swinging in and out today, hyped for the tin content. Hope you have a great time, and, hope you enjoy the bits you see, and the VOD if you watch it later. People on YouTube, how you doing? Lanterns Glow, Talons, Densetsu, Tyler, how you doing? If you could, I'd appreciate it if you'd liked the stream. If you want to help support the stream, you can either gift bits, subs on Twitch, memberships, whatever. This show is brought to you by viewers like you. PBS and all that. I just don't have the tote bags. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. We have a lot today. We are doing a patron and YouTube member only stream after normal stream today. We're going to do some horror movie trivia, which I got together. I got a bunch of questions from different sources that I sort of vetted for which questions I thought were the best horror movie trivia. Variety of difficulty levels from stuff like a hardcore fan would know, down to stuff that, you know, if you're a casual fan, you'd know, so you'll have a chance to get points and stuff. And I have a buzzer program that's sort of like Jackbox games that we'll use in order to buzz in for that. So that'll be fun. If you want to be a part of that, again, join the Patreon as any paid amount or get a YouTube membership and you'll get the link. All right, with all that business out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? This one is, I believe, about Snoop Dogg? This is a conspiracy from They Live Truth about Snoop Dogg hating Donald Trump.
Those are unaware, Snoop Dogg has come out very harshly against Donald Trump. This is a topic I covered way back in 2017 with this music video by Snoop Dogg titled Lavender, where this character portrayed as Donald Trump named Ronald Klump. And you can see what's taking place with Snoop Dogg pointing this munition at the individual portraying Donald Trump in this mock type of video.
Does he think Snoop Dogg's gonna shoot Donald Trump in the face? Mr. Duck Sauce, thanks for a 5-stream streak, says, how is that a conspiracy? I hate Donald Trump, period, end message. Also, I've never seen this video before, and it's kind of funny to me that he basically has the Trump guy in sort of minstrel show blackface Trump with the gloves and the white eye circles. Oh.
And this is absolute world stage theater, obviously. The divide and conquer's alive and well. Now take a step back.
Fun fact, if you're wondering, why do Mickey Mouse, like, have gloves and old-style cartoon characters like that have gloves? It's because minstrel show characters wore white gloves like that, and Mickey Mouse is basically a mouse version of a minstrel character. Hooray! We learn disturbing things about our pop culture every day.
So just earlier this year, with Donald Trump and Snoop Dogg all buddy-buddy, as you can see here, shaking hands. Kind of hard to see, but they're shaking hands. Trump's hand on his shoulder. And this is the quote, again, from earlier this year in January from Snoop Dogg. He has done only great things for me. Snoop Dogg says he has nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump. And that gets into this latest interview from a few days ago, where I'm not going to play the clip. It's a little bit too much, where Snoop Dogg really grills Donald Trump and says a lot of profane things that I cannot play here. Anybody could take a look on YouTube or Twitter and hear the words of Snoop Dogg about Donald Trump. Obviously, this is a fake beef. They're going back and forth. It's world stage theater, how they're friends and then they're enemies and back to friends again is absolutely ridiculous. Nonetheless, I'm going to play this old video clip that I made back in 2017.
Does he not understand that people can change opinion over time? Also, I don't know if this quote is real. At least with the other one, the more recent one, I saw Snoop Dogg say it. I don't know the context of this one sentence. I do know the context of the interview where Snoop Dogg went to fucking town telling him to fuck off.
titled Lavender by Snoop Dogg, portraying...
Is this guy pro-Trump? I don't think so. I think he's sort of like Call for an Uprising. It's weird referencing Call. It's been so long at this point since we watched Call for an Uprising. Half my audience probably doesn't know the lore from him because it's been so long. But he's more like a nonpartisan conspiracy theorist, and he thinks he's above the whole system and all politicians are on the same team. So he's that kind of guy. Oh, also, I almost forgot. Dr. Lamb Chop, are you here? If you are, I got your package. I got your incredible, serpent chalice that, like, holds mugs. This is the same mug I normally have. It just goes in this fucking serpent goblet, which is pretty cool. So thanks, Dr. Lamb Chop, for my epic serpent goblet. Fennikagami says, dude, I have a newsflash. Most people hate Donald Trump. This isn't a conspiracy, because if morons would just leave their safe space that shields them from reality, it would be screamingly obvious.
Donald Trump being taken out as the character Ronald Clump. I just saw this music video with Snoop Dogg, and of course with this clown, his name is Ronald Clump. Obviously looks like Donald Trump. And the whole idea of this assassination of Donald Trump is really being pushed. And they're pushing it too much. I mean, obviously, Snoop Dogg has handlers behind the scenes. And of course, the elite behind the scenes are behind all this. It's all about the divide and conquer.
Snoop Dogg is an incredibly wealthy guy. He doesn't have handlers. He probably has yes men. Like, at that level of wealth, you have people around you, and you basically are a business. Because the center of your, like, celebrity creates, like, a micro business all around you of, like, assistants and people who schedule for you, managers and stuff, employees, you know, doing different things, lawyers. But they work for him, ultimately. I don't think they're telling him what to do. It's quite the opposite. He's paying them.
Let me just take a look at this photo, going back in time a little bit here with Donald Trump and Snoop Dogg shaking hands.
I do like the cup, too. It did come with another cup that's kind of witchy. I have to wash it, though. I mean, I don't know. It may have been washed already, in fairness. But I didn't know, and I just opened this, so I took my cup that I already had and put it in. Thank you.
It's nothing more than theater, just like the whole entire deal with the Clinton family.
I also like this because it feels ominous. Like, I feel like if a conspiracy theorist watched this stream and saw me drinking out of this, they would be upset by it and be like, the serpent! Baphomet! Now I can drink adrenochrome in style. I just freebase it. I'm not here for drinking it. Freebasing the adrenochrome.
And Donald Trump as well. This is Donald Trump's wedding going...
Unrelated cleanse. This is why I love Toku. Evildoer, Boss Ironclaw. Boss Ironclaw is the leader of crime and the main antagonist of Jack Dengeki Tai. He's a mysterious man whose true identity is unknown, who seeks to establish the world's largest crime organization in Tokyo, Japan. In episode 23, he's revealed to be a subordinate of Shine. You gotta appreciate a villain who names their criminal organization Crime as an acrostic. This is what he looks like. Oh, look at that hat. That's a choice. I like the tinfoil flowing robes. I don't know what those are. It's pretty good though. What's the main character look like in this? Oh, yeah. This is like is this the first or second Super Sentai team retroactively? Wait, did they actually release this, or is this a bootleg? Disc only. Okay, yeah. No, this is a bootleg. Good.
Going back to 2005, and look how friendly they are together. They're all buddy-buddy. So, I mean, it's just fake beef, what it all comes down to. Now, let's take a look at the very beginning of this video. This all has to do with
That's his hair? Incredible.
Masonry. And the reason this particular character, Michael Rappaport, who I never liked. I believe this guy has no talent. I always wonder, why is this guy being spotlighted? He's been in over 40 movies, and I don't believe he has any type of talent. He's not funny whatsoever. Just take a look at some of these scenes. Again, I can't play this video clip because it's copyrighted, but I can show the images. Basically, it's a clown society. He's off to work, and he's pulled over by this clown cop. And the cop sees this, looks like a squirt gun. And the cop believes, of course, it's a real gun. He pulls out his gun, and he kills him. Okay, and...
Does the cop also have a squirt gun? Is the joke that it's a clown world where squirt guns are real guns? I genuinely can't tell.
And he kills him. Okay, and... it's being videotaped by this guy over here, as you see. And it's broadcasted on YouTube, and then the networks play it in their news footage.
Not funny listening to people dryly try to describe comedy bits.
This is what I want to get to. Again, Michael Rappaport. Why was he picked for this role? Michael Rappaport, as you see here. Just so happens, Michael is 33.
Gematria on the bingo card. This is Gematria.
And Rappaport being 33 as well. All about Masonry.
Freemasons on the bingo card.
The highest degree in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, of course, being 33. Basically, the devil's number represents the fallen angels, the third, or 33%. Just like you see here with this...
Shouldn't it be the 33.333333 repeating then?
Grand Sovereign Commander, which
We are playing bingo, yes.
I've shown just about every single video. Now, again, talking about Masonry, take a look here. Again, at the Ronald Clump, at the Clown House. And interesting enough, what do you see here?
We don't talk about the clown house in this house.
You see...
Not Jeepers Creepers either, for the same reason.
On channel 33, of course, coded for Freemasonry, as I showed earlier. It's completely ridiculous how they put their numbers in plain sight. Okay, let's take a look here as well. Like I mentioned, with the whole deal with the reason Snoop Dogg is upset, because Ronald Clump wants to deport all dogs. And again, this scene here with Snoop Dogg and the gun. And then he shoots it off and just says bang. And then they're all like sort of buddy-buddy together towards the end here. About to smoke, I guess, a joint together. And they have Ronald Clump in chains. And they're basically just messing with him. And they don't want to basically share anything with them. And of course, it's all about creating controversy, the divide, like I said earlier. But again, just take a...
I feel like conspiracy theorists have gotten lazier in that their theses are weaker. They used to have stronger theses. They used to be like, here's the thing. And this feels like a meandery vibe of, they're all in on it together. I don't know. I'm disappointed in conspiracy theorists is the roundabout thing I'm trying to say. I feel like they're not putting the work in, you know? Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is rough. This is rough. This lady has quite an interesting hypothesis on who she thinks the Antichrist is. Isn't 33 the age Jesus supposedly died at? Yes. And 3 is supposed to be a holy number. You'd think they'd like a number like 33. But they look at 33, and it's half of 66, and add another 6, and it's 666. I know it doesn't make sense. It's an excuse for them to justify paranoia. Am I going to give them a C- or a D on that thesis? C-. I don't want them to be too discouraged. They can work on it in the future and see me after class.
The Antichrist is going to have a head wound, and then kind of come back from the head wound. So it's unknown if it's like a complete death and resurrection situation.
Chat, who do you think she's going to say the Antichrist is? Who is the Antichrist? Who is the Antichrist? Guess. Go. I'm gonna drink out of this. Will you guess? Hey, Royal Ann, how's it going? You're all wrong! Normally at least one person is right. You're all wrong!
Or if it's something else. So, well, who had a head wound? Hitler. Who didn't, or who supposedly shot himself in the head? Hitler.
At least she's not a Hitler fan. I'll put this out there. She's not a Hitler fan, and she does get points for that, unfortunately, because we're grading on a curve, and the curve is very steep.
Who might not have died when he was thought to have died?
Hitler did die when he was thought to have died. Hitler shot himself in the head in a bunker as he was being surrounded by the Russians. He then had his body burned. They still have parts of his body. They have, like, his jaw fragment, I believe, that has been confirmed to be that of Adolf Hitler. He died.
Hitler. Whose star is rising? Who's getting a redemption arc? He's got fans. He's got people who are like, this guy's good. People who are ready to follow him should he return. So here's the idea.
She's not into Hitler, at least, but she recognizes there's a rise in anti-Semitism, which there is, unfortunately.
Here's the idea. He was already the Antichrist. We already know that he was into some incredible occult stuff. We know he was looking for something in Antarctica.
I feel like if the first point of criticism you have for Hitler is he was into the occult, I feel like you need to rethink the things you don't like about Hitler.
With some urgency. We think he might have escaped. So here it is. You I don't even, I'm so like, how do I even, okay. You guys know, I think the Tree of Life is still in play. I think it's definitely still in play. So
I don't know what she means by that.
What if?
The Tree of Life, in the biblical sense, is the tree that was in the Garden of Eden that allowed Adam and Eve to live continuously, I think? And then they didn't get access to it after they got kicked out for tasting of the Tree of the Knowledge of Good and Evil. And now I think the Tree of Life is supposedly located in heaven or something. Not exactly sure on that one.
What if, at some point, whatever evil spirit was living in him, because I'm pretty sure that that's the case, that he...
Oh, I hate that. I hate when people try and, like, say, like, oh, Hitler had a demon in him, or he was, like, influenced by Satan. I desperately need every human being born for the rest of time to understand that everything that Hitler did was purely human. Human beings are capable of such desperate, despicable evil against one another, and if you start to think that the only way you can be evil is if you're infested by a demon or influenced by Satan, you're not going to be double-checking to make sure you're doing decent things to people and not Hitlering. Never Hitler. Kagami says, you know, I'm a little concerned about UBI. Looking on what happened to the conspiracy theorists when we were stuck at home during the pandemic and the AI, I'm a little concerned about how much worse they'd get if we had the freedom to stay at home all the time and have all the free time to doom scroll on the internet. I get what you're saying. I guess. I think UBI is a pretty long way off, so I don't think that's a particular concern at the moment.
He was possessed, led him to the Tree of Life, and he ate. And perhaps some of the assassination attempts that failed mysteriously had something to do with the fact that he had already eaten from the Tree of Life. And
okay, so no, she thinks that the Tree of Life is like corporeal on Earth and you can find it like the Fountain of Youth and eat its fruit and live forever.
So when he shot himself in the head, he did, but he didn't die, because you can't.
Why would he shoot himself in the head then? If he knew he was immortal, why would he shoot himself in the head? Did he just want better aerodynamics? What sense does that make?
Since you've eaten from the Tree of Life. And then he escaped. And he's immortal because he ate from the Tree of Life. So he is still out there, waiting. Waiting for a second return, you guys.
Somebody at Bethesda should hire Abby Libby to write the next Wolfenstein game, because it's like in Wolfenstein, Hitler doesn't die, but he comes back with like a robot body and it's just his head. So I just love this concept. It falls in with an episode we did in season 1 where Rob Skiba makes this case. And I thought it was a very good case where he's like, look, throughout history, we have 7 Antichrist figures, and that the Bible says that the dragon will have 7 heads and that one of them will have a head wound. And he made the case in his mind, it was that Nimrod, we don't know how he died, but maybe he had a head wound, that Nimrod would return in the end times. But he lays out Hitler as the last Antichrist before the end times, and that one of the 7 heads of the dragon, one of the 7 world Antichrist through history, was going to return. So what if Rob Skiba's whole thing was correct, but it was actually Hitler? Because he says, well,
You ever wonder how advanced humanity would be if we weren't so superstitious? Like, I know that that's not how things work, and the same mental faculties that allow us to be proficient at, like, pattern recognition are the ones that go overdrive and bring people to conspiracy. So, you can't really get rid of it entirely, or else we can't connect things in a logical way either. But let's say you could. Let's say you could just dial it down for conspiracy people, and people didn't believe in the supernatural. You ever wonder how, like, advanced humanity would be? Like, if we were speed running civilization, basically, like, ideally? We'd be higher on the tech tree, methinks. Keep Lord says that little boy named Hitler then grew up to, is Twitch gonna be okay with me saying that? I'm not gonna say that one out loud. I'm not sure how Twitch is gonna feel about that.
well, Hitler had a head wound, but he's like, but nobody actually believes that Hitler killed himself, right? Because he escaped to Argentina and they never had a body and a skull and all that stuff.
They do have parts of his body. They do have parts of his body, including his jaw, which they can match to his dental records and have.
Still Nimrod, though.
Skiba is dead. Skiba is dead, correct.
Nimrod. If we subscribe to the whole spirits of the Nephilim don't go anywhere and they are demons, the demon in Hitler was Nimrod.
What if every Antichrist was possessed by the spirit of Nimrod? I
fucking hate this shit.
All Nimrod.
It's like listening to children on the playground going like, and then I got laser powers, and then I shoot you with a laser, and then the laser bounces off and hits the moon, and the moon exploded. Like, it's just like, it's nonsense. And they're so excited about this fucking nonsense they made up, as if their enthusiasm for the bullshit itself justifies the belief. Hate. Hate, hate, hate. Hate, hate, hate. Hate, hate, hate. Hate. Okay, let's move on.
Truth Anchor back again, everyone. Well, today we're going to talk about the conspiracy of the Cabal and what may be the actual history that they brag about in a video game that's 20, 30 years old.
Cabal on the bingo card. We already had it with Freemasons. I think that's the same space, but to reiterate, Freemasons and Cabal on the bingo card.
In the future, we're going to have to make a video talking about what's going to come in this election, what's going to come in the aftermath of the election, and further on down the road, maybe a decade or two. But for the time being, let's go ahead and talk about Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun.
Popular media is evil. Yeah, Command and Conquer's a franchise. That can count.
Now, this is a sci-fi real-time strategy game, kind of like chess. But
actually, this might be predictive programming, not popular media is evil. Let's listen for a little bit and I'll decide. Benikagami says, don't tell certain anti-theists that it's impossible to get rid of superstition without removing all the parts that make us smart. They'll have a breakdown.
Instead of taking turns, you build units that attack other units in real time. You build a base. And originally, they were making video games based on the Dune series. So the host spice and trying to mine the spice, but they didn't want to pay royalties, so they made their own. So instead of spice, that was essential for the universe, you now have Tiberium, which has a little bit more mysterious origins and an overall plan with it. And just to give you an idea what that video game looked like, you can see right here is the base and how you build units on that bar on the right. and the units, they all have their little different advantages at different stages in the game and what other units they're pretty good at taking out. So it's a game of cat and mouse. It's measure, counter, measure, counter, counter, measure. A lot of that going on. Now, all that is kind of a moot point compared to...
Mute point. Sorry, hate to be that person, but he said mute point instead of moot point.
The history of what I want to show you
I hate that I'm that person, but I'm 100% that person.
Right here. So we'll do a little stop and go, but mainly you'll be listening to this gentleman speak, or whoever narrates it. And bear with me on the YouTube commercials.
Overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card! Overt anti-Semitism!
For it is your own. Cain wants you to view this.
Accessing Brotherhood archives.
Thousands of years ago, there were two brothers, Cain the farmer and Abel the shepherd. In a moment of jealousy, Cain slew his brother. As punishment, God cursed Cain that the earth he tilled would not provide him sustenance, and placed a mark upon him that prevented anyone from ending his life. And Cain...
So a little bit of interesting point here. They spell Cain with a K, very similar to the Kabbalah. I think that's not a coincidence. And the...
Doesn't know what a coincidence is on the bingo card? Hbeard with 46 months says, yet another sub baby. When are you gonna start paying child support? Never. Also, that's 10 months, but I guess maybe I didn't give you one last month. This sub baby's name is going to be Marcelio Coke Chains. Marcelio Coke Chains. I think I Kaiser Soze'd that. Hats off, what do you want me to wear? Isaac Inanimate. Something spooky. Halloween werewolf judge. Okay, I can do wolf. I can do wolf ears. If I can find them. I did find the cat ears, by the way. That's good. Wolf ears. Shit, I skipped ahead. God damn it.
Fallen angels, worker, the fruit.
We're missing important lore.
But Cain did not wither as the years passed. This mark, whether a part of his punishment or as an unintentional side effect, created a man undying.
The Bible doesn't say that.
It's very interesting. When Adam and Eve sinned, they were given knowledge of good and evil, perhaps prematurely, or maybe mankind was never supposed to get that. Regardless, we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and God said that if we attained the fruit of life, we would live forever in this evil state. So it's very interesting that Cain killed his brother Abel, and according to this, they say he is immortal, that this guy is the Antichrist. I don't know what to say about that. It also sounds like it's a little bit related to the mark of the beast, the mark of Cain. When you read about it in the book of Genesis, it sounds like it's to protect Cain so other people don't kill him. But it also sounds like very similar to the mark of the beast, where if you don't get that, you will be killed.
In the centuries that followed, Cain founded a secret organization, the Brotherhood of Nod. Its purpose, its beliefs at this point are
So Nod, that's a mysterious land. I don't think anyone knows where it is, but that's where Cain was banished to. So the fact that he couldn't farm land, it wouldn't yield to him. A lot of people speculate maybe he built cities. That would make a lot of sense, especially being a metal worker.
How does that make sense?
And
also, where did he learn metalwork? That wasn't in the Bible.
It's also...
No, James. Only the most extreme one counts, because a thing can only count for one bingo space at a time.
The name of this faction right here, it's the Brotherhood of Nod.
Clear. But it's possible Cain already knew of Tiberium and its beneficiaries.
So Tiberium is the resource in the video game. You have to
Beth,
mine
how's it
it
going?
just like people would mine spice, or it's gold in Warcraft, the Warcraft series, or the mineral.
With a Sarajevo Temple of Nod at its head.
I'm predictive programming on the bingo card for this. I don't think he's saying it's directly evil as much as it's them secretly telling their plan. Go with that. Let's take a look at the bingo card real quick and fill it out, and then we'll keep going. Mark of the Beast. Illuminati, Freemason, Cabal. Predictive programming. Doesn't know what a coincidence is. We had satanic. Overt anti-Semitism. I think that's maybe it. What else? Did we have Clintons, Bidens, Obamas mentioned? When was that? Oh yeah, Gematria. Thank you. For 87. When was Clinton, Biden, or Obama mentioned? With the Trump pics? Eh, you're right. There were pictures of the Clintons there. Okay. We're good. I want to see this guy's PowerPoint. There's a guy with a PowerPoint on NESARA, and I'm so interested. He's got, like, the Punisher skull thing, but he kind of looks like a, nope, can't talk about people's looks. That's a personal thought. Never mind. Anyway, let's check out his video. It's a PowerPoint presentation. How exciting.
I see a large fill. Just pause right now. Ready?
Wait, everyone dressed as Nicolas Cage for an episode of Critical Role? That's pretty good. The Rock. City of Angels, that's a good one. Mandy. Valley Girl. On Air. Wicker Man. Honeymoon in Vegas, haven't seen that one. Face Off, that's pretty good. Face Off is the one I would have wanted.
All right, good. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get to the presentation screen. You guys are ridiculous.
Can we watch the third party's debate at some point? It was an absolute clown show. That would probably be funny.
Man, very successful, and your organization is business. And
that might be fun. I'll save it and decide another day.
I try to be funny so often, and I never am. Hardy, har, 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 har. All right, let's, what the hell am I doing? Oh. Hold on. Super hacker doesn't even know how to do it. Nope, that's not the screen, Phil. It's not the screen. Okay, presentation mode, share screen. Oh, baby, where are we?
Uses AI on the bingo card. That's an AI image of Trump in a the gunpowder plot. The remember the 5th of November. What the fuck is his name? Guy Fawkes. Thank you. With a Guy Fawkes mask.
Where did we go? There it is. Cool. Look at that guy, right? He's like an anonymous Trump about to light that shit on fire. Light it up, boy. Right? Isn't that cool?
I often wonder the kind of person that looks at this and goes, that's so badass. We found the guy. We found the demographic that looks at this stuff and goes like, fuck yeah.
Did that myself. Actually, I didn't do any of it. However, I will claim that I did because it's cool. Right? I like it. Maybe I can maximize this. Hold on a sec. I don't like how it's like not. You know, I guess I could hit play, but if I do
your
that,
presentation.
I'm formatting it. It's bad for me. Yeah, I'm excited. You're going to see why I'm excited in a minute here. So let's get started. Here we go. So tonight is about preparedness, preparing for what is to come. And what is to come is something that we've all been hoping for and waiting for a very long time. So let's get into it. What is NESARA? What is it? What is NESARA? Or
is that a hand-drawn back, the blue Punisher skull? I don't think it's hand-drawn. That's like a thing on his wall. That's wall art that's like this big, that's hanging on his wall behind him. Because that's part of his like little... Hold on. Show you. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Control Z. This one. See? That's on his fucking wall. That's permanent. He probably spent like $100 on that thing.
Or GESARA. This is the content of what we're going to cover tonight, by the way, in case you didn't pick that up yet. What is NESARA or GESARA? We're going to talk about that tonight. We're also going to talk about what does it mean for each of us. Not only what is it, I think most of us by now know what GESARA is, right? We know.
This is one of those conspiracy theories you may have heard of in other conspiracy theories. It's sort of a supplemental conspiracy theory that often goes on top of like QAnon stuff or any sort of Trump conspiracy, any conspiracy in which they think someone's going to come in a white hat and solve all their issues, get rid of the people that they deem to be evil, them, if you know what I mean. And they think this NESARA or GESARA law will come in and fix all their financial stuff. I wanted to remind you that these people are Trump supporters and the kind of people that call everything they don't like socialism and communism, and then listen to what they think this law that they're proposing is.
You know what NESARA is? I mean, you could probably even spell out or enunciate the acronym for what NESARA is, National Economic blah, blah, blah. So we're going to talk about not only what it is, but we're also going to talk about what it means for each of us. I sank below the screen? What do you mean? What do you mean I sank below the screen? I see myself on the screen.
Toreador says, a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup conspiracy. You got my racism and my fascist conspiracy theory. You got your fascism and my racist conspiracy theory.
How could that be? Y'all see me? I should be in the bottom left corner of your screen, right? You see me? I see you. Okay. Okay. Yes. No, you look great. I know. You're fine. I know. Thank you.
Hello, Bales.
Oh, you mean fine like I'm good. Okay. So I'm bottom left corner of the screen. If I
oh my God,
screen,
get on with it.
To prepare for it. That is what we're going to talk about on tonight's live. Many details have been given to me from my source. Way more details than I thought I was going to hear.
Oh my God, he has a source.
And truthfully, I did not know that I was about to receive intel on NESARA. It totally hit me by surprise. I got the message and, excuse me, I got the message and I'm like, why are we talking about this? Like, this is absolutely nowhere on my agenda. I haven't been talking about this in my audience. I have been, but here and there. And now suddenly I'm getting this, intel. So this kind of hit me by surprise, but I have details, and these aren't speculative details. This is apparently, according to my source, and again, I'm only as good as my source. So if
I want to know where he claims his source is, like what makes him think that this person sending him information is anyone official that has secret insider information? Did someone just email him out of the blue and say, I'm a secret insider, I'm whistleblowing, here's information, and he just believed them? Did someone give some sort of fake credentials?
If it ends up wrong or bad, and shame on him for giving me the intel in the first place. However,
of course it wouldn't be on him.
There has not yet been a point that my source has led me astray. There's been a couple misinformation things here, but when it comes to NESARA, GESARA, there is absolutely no reason to give misinformation. Maybe.
What do you mean there's no reason to give misinformation? I like that he just admitted to, like, okay, my source has been wrong before, but why would they lie to me this time? What would they have to gain? Maybe they're just laughing at you. Maybe they're just a person who's evil and thinks it's funny to fuck with conspiracy theorists. I think that's wrong, but I can also imagine an evil version of me that would think that's funny, you know? I'm sure there are people out there who get their kicks messing with people like this. Don't do that, by the way. Real shit. Do I know the QAnon Anonymous folks? I'm aware of them. I don't know them personally, though. Fenekagami says his source confirmed his feelings, so they must be telling the truth.
Maybe misinformation on the timeline, but not the details. And I got the deets. I got the deets, and I'm excited to give them to you. I think you guys are going to like it. So first of all, as bullet point number 1 above says, we are going to talk about what the hell is NESARA. The National Economic Security Strategy Act. Now, if you notice, that does not spell out NESARA, right? If any of you are clever people out there, wait a minute, that's NESSA, not NESERA or whatever, right? So a little bit different, right? They tried to sneak this one in back in 2018. Interestingly enough, 2018, who was president then? Donald Trump. So what we were doing here...
Tina, too, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. I'm Hannah. I look at conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories and why people believe them, what they believe, and we're playing conspiracy bingo. Everyone in chat, if you could, check out Tina 2's channel. Can I get a link to Tina's channel so people can check it out, please?
With some very clever senators.
Hope you had a good stream, Tina.
Let me see if I can...
Thank you, there's the shout out.
Zoom this. Yeah, I could. I'll do a little bit better than that. There we go. What we did here with some clever senators, if you notice, introduced by Senator Young, Todd Young from Indiana. It was introduced in April of 2018. You can see that right here. And you could see who sponsored the bill as well, I think. Yeah, right down here. Mr. Young, Mr. Merkley, Mr. Rubio, and Mr. Coons introduced the following bill, which is read twice and referred to the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. Cool. Okay, cool. So we have this little piece of documentation entered into Congress. Whether or not it passed makes absolutely no difference. The fact is...
Makes a pretty big difference.
That they were...
Are you familiar between the difference between a bill and a law? If not, I have a song for you that is oddly appropriate.
Thinking about it, and they were writing it back in 2018. Now, of course, as we said, the name of the act, the name of this bill does not necessarily spell out NESARA, but I can tell you that many things in this bill are the same or very similar to the things that we know about NESARA.
Reaches and Hose with 50 bits says, pretty sure your evil counterpart is Blair White.
Okay, and we're going to talk about the things that we know about NESARA right now. Wow, that's real big, though. Hold on a minute. There we go. Should be better. Okay, so this is NESARA. Now, you could see in the very top right here that National Economic Security and Reformation Act.
Okay, so this is the stuff that these QAnon Trump supporter NESARA GESARA people think Trump is doing. He'll probably go over these, but let's go over them real quick. Again, reminder, these are the kind of people that call any social service or any consumer protections to be communism, socialism, stuff like that. Sorry, Fenekagami, I'll get to them in a sec. They believe it will forgive all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt, abolish income tax, abolish the IRS, increase benefits to senior citizens. Jesus fucking Christ. Creates new U.S. Treasury currency backed by gold, silver, and platinum. The one that I'm most interested in is the top stuff. Forgiving all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt. These are the kind of people that call, like, public health care communism, and yet they, because I assume it would personally benefit them, they would like all of their debts erased, which would effectively be a huge transfer of wealth from the rich to the not-so-rich, which generally I'm all for. Fuck the rich. But I find it incredibly hypocritical that Trump supporters and Trump voters would ever think that this is something that Donald Trump or people on his team would want to happen. This is insane. Insane hypocrisy on the bingo card.
Is not the same as what we saw on the previous page, which is National Economic Security Strategy Act. They just got a little clever.
Oh, sorry, the Fenekagami bits I gotta get to. Fenekagami says his source confirmed his feelings, so they must be telling the truth. I did actually read that one.
And they kind of renamed it, tried to fly it under the radar, as I told you guys. Didn't work. We noticed. Anyway, let me zoom this in here a little bit.
The confidence isn't earned at all.
That should be good, right? Yeah. Okay, these were the bullet points of NESARA that have been floating around for a very long time. In fact, if you look at the very bottom of this slide, you could see that this particular document was prepared sometime in 2016 by a group, Sheldon, Niddle, After Abundance. Who knows what any of that means? Bottom line is, this has been floating around for a long time, okay? I got many details of many of these bullet points. This live, unfortunately, is not going to cover every single one of these bullet points, but I am going to cover quite a few of them, and I got the exact details and what I'm led to believe on these particular details about.
H. Baird says, Trumpism is just magical thinking as a political philosophy. Vote for him. In reality, you believe whatever you want it to be. Freyline says they want to increase benefits, but that's not socialism. I am not saying it is. I'm saying it's hypocritical because Republicans broadly call any sort of increase in social services or social services broadly as socialist. Briar Rose says, isn't this just biblical concept of Jubilee, but as a law? That may explain why it feels better to them than something like socialism or communism. I'm not familiar with the biblical concept of Jubilee.
These bullet points that I'm about to give you is that this is...
we already had doesn't know what a coincidence is on the bingo card.
What has been finalized. This is what is going to go into effect once we have Trump back in office. Okay? So this isn't...
If Trump wanted to, and this isn't something the president could unilaterally do, by the way, like, this would require an act of Congress, and even that, I don't know if it would end up going through the courts if they did this. But to claim that you want to forgive all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt, that's... The president can't do that. Even if Congress could do it, and if they can do that, the courts are probably going to block it on some sort of justification. Have you seen the makeup of the Supreme Court? It would also, frankly, just be a fucking nightmare figuring out who owes who what, because bank debt includes banks owing debts to other banks. So I guess that's going to get confusing. The point is, this is a fantasy. This isn't something that Donald Trump would ever be interested in, even if he did have the power to do it, which he does not, even if he's reelected.
Hypothetical information floating around.
Jubilee's the 7-year debt forgiveness and reset thing. Ah, gotcha. And Briar Rose with 100 bits posted the Wikipedia link to the Jubilee biblical thing. Thank you.
Around the internet like it has been since 2016, like thing on the screen. What I'm about to give you tonight, not the thing on the screen right now, not the thing up here. This is what's been floating around. I am going to give you the intel that I have about the specifics about each of these bullet points that have been passed and voted in. So we're actually going to know by the end of tonight's live what each of these things are. Now, I'm going to read through the document quickly. National Economic Security and Reformation Act forgives all credit card debt, mortgage, and other debt. We're going to talk about that. Abolishes income tax. We're going to talk about that. Abolishes the IRS. Employees transfer to the U.S. Treasury. National Sales Tax Area.
I keep thinking I'm getting, like, texts, and I am, but they're spam. Here's another one. This one's from Trump. Please tell me you'll at least answer question 1. Take my MAGA poll now. Wait for this election season to be over. Please vote. Please vote.
Creates a 14% non-flat rate, non-essential new items only tax. We're going to talk about that. Increases benefits to city. We're going to talk about many of these things tonight. Some of it we are not going to talk about because I do not have the details on some of them, but I was lucky enough to get the details on many of them, and that's what we're going to go over right now. First and foremost, we're going to start with credit card and revolving debt forgiveness. A lot of rumors out there about how debt forgiveness is going to work, who's going to be eligible for it, all that kind of stuff. Please do not, if you're watching this live, do not leave the live until 2 things happen. Number 1, the live is over and I'm no longer on the screen. Number 2, you wait until the end of the slide.
All right, I'm done with that guy. He's incredibly boring. Let's see what we got. Oh, my favorite! This guy's newer. I've only seen him for about a month, but he's hilarious.
My friends,
this guy claims to make contact with Pleadians. Believes they speak with aliens regularly on the bingo card.
So welcome, all of you, almost 113,000 starseeds, lightworkers, wanderers who have joined on this session. And today I have channeled the Pleadians to answer very interesting questions, many of which were sent by our lovely viewers. Thank you for sending me on my email and also commenting down below your questions. I will choose from them. So the first question is about how to do semi-awake channeling. So if you have seen, there are many people who do channeling in a semi-awake state, which is much different than what I have been doing, which is in a trance state. So I asked, like, what is the procedure and how can we do it perfectly?
Sorry, that was a hiccup.
So in this session, they have discussed the steps needed to do a semi-awake channeling. And if you want to try it yourself, you can do it. Also, I will try it myself in the upcoming sessions. And also, I'll keep you updated. Furthermore, also about the second question is about if you have watched the recent UFO community, like what is happening. There is something known as the Immaculate Constellation Program, which was recently discovered. But people have no idea what this is really about. So
I'm getting to his Pleiadian stuff. I don't care what he has to say. I care what the Pleiadians have to say. Hey, Anonymously, how's it going?
We are the Pleadians now in communication through this instrument's inner vibratory system. And we, the Pleadians, are now in communications through this instrument's inner heart at this timeline. Therefore, we shall now address and answer the various patterns of the queries that are presented today.
Do you think the aliens actually talk like that, or that's just a function of, like, telepathically controlling someone's mouth? Like, if you actually saw these aliens in person, would they be like, "Hello, I am Bob the alien"? Like, what? I know they're not real.
Through this instrument's inner heart.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow! Toreador says, looks like the alien abducted his razor. Don't talk about how people look. I need to read things before I read them.
However, we suggest the peoples of your planets to use inner discernment when listening to our thought forms and
what's this? It's the unknown!
Messages at this timeline.
I hope the unknown's doing great. Miss them.
Firstly, about the query related with how
did I talk like the speaker box in McDonald's? Hey, when I worked at McDonald's, I worked in the kitchen. I didn't have to deal with people. It was nice. It wasn't nice. McDonald's is a shitty place to work, but I at least didn't have to talk to customers. Overthought with 100 bits says, "Sir, we cannot analyze if you snore or not if you don't shut up. This is a sleep study, not an open mic."
Whose name, or let us say whose identity.
Yeah, this is when Louis Theroux interviewed that guy who also channeled aliens.
Is called. This is Central Control. Stand by. Information to follow. We are ready to transmit. We are ready to transmit.
Thank you for the 3-stream streak.
This is the voice of Instruct Relay Automatic. In and for the planet you of the Earth called Jupiter.
Wouldn't it be funny if all this was real? It's not. But wouldn't it be funny if it was real and the aliens couldn't figure out that, like, why won't they take us? Why won't they take us seriously? Like they don't know the way they sound is hilarious.
Semi-awake channeling works and how to do it. We, the Pleadians, must...
No comment needed on this guy.
State that the
He really does. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Aspect of channeling involves a complex interplay of consciousness where an individual entity, the channeler, allows their personal consciousness to step aside and to become a conduit for other entities.
H-Bird says, "Do these people ever wonder if the aliens are just messing with them? If aliens could actually do stuff like this, I'd assume there would be a lot of telepathic spam. Yeah, like it's just like the space version of some 13-year-olds who found their like space trucker dad's CB radio, and they tune into human brains just to fuck with them."
Or higher wisdom to flow through. Furthermore, we must state that the aspects of the
Harold Ebelman says, "World War II generals and subsequent 50s sci-fi movies really fucked these people's perception of voice of authority, didn't it? Any clue who Patient Zero is? I don't know, but it makes me just want to say in his voice, Claude tu Verada Nick tu."
My awake channeling primarily works through the aspects of realizing that it is akin to a light meditative state.
Steve with a Q says, "We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty." Okay. Toreador with 50 bits posts a page from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Wikipedia. And it says, Teasers are usually rich kids with nothing to do. They cruise all around looking for planets that haven't made interstellar contact yet and buzz them, meaning that they find some isolated spot with very few people around, land right by some poor unsuspecting soul whom no one's going to believe, then strut up and down in front of him wearing silly antennas in their head and making beep-beep noises. The concept of teasers was explained to Arthur Dent by Ford Perfect. Ford had arrived on planet Earth 15 years prior to its demolition by hitching a lift with a teaser. Where are we?
Where the
Ashley One Up says, "We, the Pleiadians, seek the human known as Hugh Jazz? Is there a Hugh Jazz in the room?" There is.
The channeler is aware of their surroundings and their own thought forms, yet open enough to receive external information. The key is to balance between staying conscious enough to articulate or record the information received, but passive enough to not interfere with the message with one's own thought forms or biases. Furthermore, we the Pleadians shall share with you a simple step process to perfect semi-awake channeling. For those who desire to do so, firstly, there must be a purification of the self by engaging in practices that cleanse your energy.
I'm gonna get to the point they're talking about the election. I want to hear the Pleiadian take.
Such information primarily has been done in order to not create mass hysteria and to keep the secret knowledge obtained by such types of programs from the common people. Furthermore, we shall now also address the other query related with whom do we the Pleadians endorse?
Oh my god, who do the Pleadians endorse for president? I didn't know that was the specific question. This is important. This could change my vote. H-Red says, your Pleiadians hate this, but you can go faster than the speed of light with this one weird trick.
From the entities named as Kamala Harris or Donald Trump for the
aliens didn't say your name right. They are from a different solar system. Can I blame them? Yes. Yes, I can.
Upcoming elections of your planets in the United States, we the Pleadians firstly must state that within the aspects of our understanding, the concept of endorsements transcends the limitations of human political structures. We as the Pleadians primarily are operating from the level of 6th density of—
Boo! They're gonna give a non-answer! 6th area density. Dimensions beyond our own on the bingo card.
Unity, harmony, and collective evolution. Hence, it does not align with individual candidates based on their political affiliations or agendas. We the Pleadians seek to promote unity amongst all entities. We encourage individual entities to rise above to a thinking of favoring one over another and instead focus on the greater good for humanity as a whole.
Yes, and which one of these two do you think is better for the future of humanity as a whole? That's such a non-answer. I am sure he doesn't want to upset half of his audience or whatever percent are Trump or Kamala supporters, depending on which side he would have the aliens take. They did! They pulled a Washington Post! Oh my god, is Jeff Bezos an alien? GESARA with 34 months says, as a priest of Paul, I'm sure that now the main man would endorse Kamala Harris as Trump's policies are heretical to his teachings. True.
Furthermore, our interest lies in the human social complex's readiness to embrace higher truths and understandings.
Enlightened centrist Pleadians.
We observe
the new band name.
The actions and intentions of the peoples of your planets, but do not endorse them in a conventional sense, as understood by your peoples. Furthermore, with regards to the entities such as named as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, we must state that it is essential to recognize that both entities represent facets of the human experience. The entity named as Kamala Harris primarily is also a human entity and it has its own biases at play. However,
did you just say Kamala is mostly a human entity?
The entity Donald Trump also has the same types of biases, desires, and interests, and we encourage all entities of your planets to engage in discernment when—
You fucking you discern! What are you talking about? I'm so mad at these fictional aliens. Peeplord says, have you ever heard him speak? He's a freak. Jort Poobahs is definitely an alien. Almost on a hype train. Zealous55 with 40 months says, I wrote in Hannah on my ballot. JK, I voted for Kamala. Thank you. Thank you very much for voting.
Considering endorsing any specific entity, we firstly state that it is important to embrace your role as divine beings in the awakening to higher levels of consciousness. Furthermore, with regards to the other query about the soul identity and soul journey of the entity named as Kamala Harris.
What do you mean soul identity?
Who was incarnated on 1964. We the Pleadians shall now state that the entity Kamala Harris is an starseed entity.
Oh, they're saying she's a starseed?
And an old soul who has taken...
Will that help with the crackpot vote, calling Kamala a starseed? Peoplord says, can you do a poll, did vote, didn't vote, can't vote? I want to wait till closer to the election, maybe even election day.
This opportunity
and peer pressure people then.
To incarnate at this timeline, for the purpose of becoming able to learn the lessons of love and compassion. However, during its journey, it may encounter influences from negatively oriented entities, and thereby
Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub and kicking off the hype train.
Distorting its choice.
You want to help support the channel during the hype train, bits, messages, gift subs, resubscribing yourself. All these things help.
Which many a times have occurred because of the desire to control over other entities. Furthermore, the entity Kamala Harris must also remember to learn to forgive other entities, since this is one of the aspects which it struggles with at this timeline. And its primary soul's purpose is to cleanse itself of anger, of pride, and of any other lower vibratory emotion, to master ascension into the new earth, fourth density consciousness. Furthermore, prior to this incarnation, the entity in one of the timelines was found in India around 1692, wherein it was named as Madhusudan, in the location of India currently known as Delhi. The entity found itself working as a farmer in the big...
We're talking about Kamala's past lives now? Okay. Ashley one up with 50 bits says, for the train, gets us over level 1, thank you. Overthought with 100 bits says, you know what Kamala says, you didn't just fall off the hovercraft, you exist within the higher dimensions around you.
Beginning stages of its life. During this incarnation, it had to learn a valuable lesson about desire. The entity had a plot of land which it had inherited from its parents. However,
how scary is it to think that this person's like nonsense they're making up on the spot might actually influence someone's vote because they believed a story about one of the presidential candidates' alleged prior lives? Reincarnation on the bingo card, by the way.
After the entity began to work on the land, it found that the land was unsuitable for cultivation. The entity, however, saw that its neighbor's land was more suitable, and hence the entity tricked its neighbor into exchanging the land. This caused a type of negative spiral of karmic energy, for the entity found itself in the hands of negative repercussions of karmic energy as the entity's cultivation worsened in the new land. However, the neighbor was able to cultivate even more from the lands exchanged. Furthermore, the entity learned about a valuable lesson of desire, and the entity crossed over at the age of 42 years in that timeline. Prior to that, it was found in the planet of Maldek, wherein it had spent its experiences from the first density up to the third density level of consciousness, learning about self-awareness, beingness, and awareness.
I don't need to hear about Kamala's track record on Maldek. I think Earth will do fine.
Primary origins were found
7% to level 2 on the hype train.
87 million years ago in the planet of Maldek, and was known by the sole name of Itar, which meant water in the language terms of the Maldekians. Hence we shall now leave you all in the love lights of the one Creator. Bye.
Bye! Why didn't we hear about Donald Trump's past lives?
And also, my friends, let me tell you...
Does this guy have a big audience? He has over 100,000 subscribers. He has 112,000 subscribers and 25,000 views. Truly, truly disappointing that 25,000 people have watched this in 6 days.
In this session, as far as I understand, the Pleadians, they have stated information about semi-awake channeling state. What they stated was that it is much like
if you want to support smaller but channels that aren't lying to you, hype train.
A meditative state, but you know your conscious mind is not completely off, right? So in a trance state, you know, conscious mind is completely off. It's much like a dream state when I channel, but when people do semi-awake channeling, it is a little bit less deep. You can still be aware of the environment, and to channel you need to have the process of purification in place, which was described by the Pleadians, and also you have to you know, visualize white light surrounding yourself to create a positive shield. Also, the Pleadians have stated about the second query about the Immaculate Constellation program as far as...
Okay, enough of this guy. Minute on the hype train. Unstable Deadbeat, thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs and saving the hype train. Much appreciated. Thank you muchly. What?
In today's...
But people do like it, I must say.
No! In today's video, we are
39% to level 3 on the hype train.
We're looking at
only 19 subs away from our goal.
Not the shape of the...
Oh, sorry, it's 29. Bad math in my head.
Earth or any argument surrounding that. What we are looking at is the fact that it is provable through evidence of old footage not meant for us to see from NASA, where it shows the thing called the blue marble. And the blue marble has been the cornerstone for the imagery and the size of the Earth and where the boundaries lay.
It really isn't, though. It's like an interesting thing, but it's not our primary measure of any of those things. Nemesaur, thank you so much for gifting 20 tier 1 subs. Generous, as always. Thank you very much. Got us over level 5, holy crap.
For at least 50 or 60 years now.
And only 9 subs away from our monthly sub goal. Woohoo!
This image that you have been looking at was and still is a fakery. The images that you see now, all the computer generation images, everything that is supposedly coming through a satellite is put through this blue marble programming so that everything ends up matching this initial image that was provided by NASA. And what you will see from this footage is that that image was fake. And not only was it fake in the sense of the actual size of the Earth, not what the Earth looks like, but the size, but that the Earth is actually way, way bigger than you think it is. Just like the old world maps showing continents and places beyond the ice wall. I want you to look.
Wait, does he think this map in the background is old? This is a relatively new creation. Does he think that's an ancient map?
Get this imagery and take a look for yourself and make your own decision.
Wait, it's all Earth? Yeah. You're an astronaut, Gary. How do you not know this? You've been training in school for this for 20 years, you
and show too much revealing detail of a false scene that was yet unproven. And finally, the element that seals their fate. Of all the completely filled lethal radiation.
This is not the video. It was actually, I apologize. Oh, this one's probably just gonna be racist.
Hello, Patriots. In Native American lore,
Chitara says, my family came from beyond the ice wall. Our mates froze the oceans to trap the devil in the ancients called Scorpzilla. The beast has since perished. We leave the ice wall up for fear what could felled Scorpzilla.
The totem.
It was me. I did it. Sorry.
The totem pole of a tribe represents the spirits attached to the tribe to protect and enlighten the tribe. But what if
Ashrin, thanks for gifting a sub and getting us over level 5 of the hype train.
This idea goes deeper.
Only 8 subs away from our goal.
And more sinister. The Illuminati and Freemasonry possess, and the Freemasons possess what we call...
What tribe is she talking about? She's just talking about it like all indigenous groups are like the same, basically. That kind of thing.
Secret knowledge.
5% to level 7 on the hype train. Oh, we got over level 6. Holy crap.
And it's secret knowledge.
See you, Royalian.
About the spirit.
Tell Jeff I said hi.
World. And we know the origins of the Illuminati bloodline families go back to biblical origins. One of the suspect tribes, the tribe of Dan, is thought to be the ancestors of some of these native tribes. And
I'm sorry, what? She thinks that indigenous people of the Americas are secretly the lost tribes of Israel? Oh, God.
And part of the bloodline families.
Overthought, thanks for gifting a sub.
Could this idea of the totem originate?
Only 7 subs away from our goal.
From these Illuminati bloodline.
That's a Mormon thing? I did know that was a Mormon thing. Yeah, the Moroni, the Nephites, and the... What do they call the other one? The Nephites and the... Any ex-Mormons here who can tell me what the other ones are other than the Nephites?
Families, or the tribe of Dan, for example.
Lamanites? Lamites?
If so, the totem found
Lamanites
hidden on a person's face would represent the evil spirits attached to the person or their family, bloodline family. Here we see the Pope, and we know the Catholic Church has major connections to the Illuminati. They are the
Do we know that?
Illuminati, I think. But look at the hat. Evidence of what appears to be a totem is on the hat.
Is it? It literally just looks like patterns. What are you talking about? If I saw it in higher definition, I could be more specific about the symbolism on it, but I can't. Some of them look floral. There's definitely some like star-shaped things vaguely, but they again look floral. It looks like a blooming something. Pointing to things on the cross and calling them demonic. It's literally a cross. It's a crucifix.
And, you know, do you think this is a coincidence? Well,
it's not even a coincidence. You're doing pareidolia. You're seeing things that aren't there.
Well, I'll let you decide. So, here are the totems of 5 what I think of as evil people, globalists, bloodline people.
Oh boy.
And, you know, what you see in the totems, in my opinion, represent the evil spirits that are attached to these people. But again, that's my theory, and I'll let you make up your own mind about that. It's still just interesting to see, and it's really quite amazing the symbols and faces and things that you'll see in these totems on their faces. And I'll put a link to the channel.
Chitara says, this is insane to me. We straight up know exactly who and where the ancestors of indigenous Americans came from. I'll say that the idea that every Native American is descended from members of a lost tribe of Israel who are also Illuminati members is a new one for me.
And the videos in the description.
Yeah, thinly veiled anti-Semitism on the bingo card. We got both kinds today. What a day. Minute left in the hype train.
And so you can visit this guy's channel. All right, here we go.
I'm very concerned with what she's about to do with this. For those that don't know, this is Charles Schwab. He is Jewish, I believe. So I'm not sure where this is going. I don't know what's up with the music. What? 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 She's like jacking up the contrast or something to try and find secret patterns in his face? Oh, this is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. This is bad. Thank you everyone for that stellar hype train. That was incredible. We're almost to our monthly sub goal. So thank you, NESARA and everyone else for their generosity with the gift subs. George Soros, another Jewish man. Same thing. She's going through and finding like the Illuminati triangle. The all-seeing eye. Which, by the way, spurious symbology on the bingo card. Who's this next one? I actually don't recognize this woman. No, wait, she was the press secretary, question mark? No, who is this? Why am I blanking? No, it is, okay. It is that Jen, okay. Oh, Tom Hanks! Hence. I don't recognize this one.
That'll take you to the channel.
This is an interesting channel. Or deal. Schwab is not Jewish, conspiratorial nuts think he is because international banking and globalists. Well, I apologize then, I'm sorry. I'm always afraid that I'll pick misinformation up like that from conspiracy theorists, which occasionally happens and I don't realize it. That sucks.
So I wanted to go more into this book that I've been reading that I recommend everybody reads it on. You can listen to it on Audible, and you have a trial membership on Audible. You can get it for free for a couple weeks, and then you can listen to this book. It's called The Pleadian Code 1, The Great Soul Rescue by Eva Marquez. And I finished this book last night, and it is super good. So I just want to run through a few things that I thought were interesting. Atlantis is Pleadian. What happened with Atlantis?
Atlantis on the bingo card.
Was that there was a, it's basically goes back to the fundamentals of dark and light and twin flames. So there was this princess that was from Sirius. I think she was from Sirius. And she had fell in love with this man named Eros, who was originally, he just lost himself. He chose the dark path, and he was sleepwalking pretty much. So they ended up coming together and bringing out the best in each other, but it wasn't easy. But they started Atlantis. So Atlantis was like the yin and yang symbol, okay? So Atlantis was destroyed, okay? So when Atlantis destroyed, it caused a rip. It caused a rip in the dimensions. And so...
Why?
Lower frequency dimensional beings from the second dimension were able to get into the third dimension. Okay. So then these people that were here, these Atlantean people that were left, I mean, this was a massive problem. The whole planet's grid was broke. They had no way of communication, anything. So as time progressed, they were trying to get rid of all of these two-dimensional souls that were inhabiting.
I'm not gonna lie, two-dimensional beings invading the third dimension is actually a pretty good concept for like a D&D game. Kind of fun. Doctor Who had a monster like that. You could use some of the concepts from that. Be a fun enemy.
Forms, these human forms, because it was like possessions. So they set up these type of temples, and these temples had like an arch building, kind of like these mosques and stuff, and then they'd have a doorway in the middle, and these people would have to, after they did this hygiene with, you know, the sacred bathing and all this stuff, they would come through these temples. They'd have to pass through this doorway. When they came through the front and the back, they were
Is
like...
Bill Cipher 2D? I guess I don't remember that. It's been years since I watched Gravity Falls.
crystals and things that were there.
I remember liking Gravity Falls a lot, and I liked Bill Cipher. I tend to like that kind of character, whether it's Bill Cipher or Q or Mr. Miss Yes Lick Flick.
Technology. And they would exercise these...
That dragon from My Little Pony, played by John Delancey.
Lower dimensional souls out of these bodies that were here. Because they were trying to get everything right, but it was just like an endless battle.
The Great Gazoo. Sorry, now I'm just thinking of characters that are kind of like omnipotent, powerful trickster beings in fiction.
And then this is how you get through the witch trials and all this stuff. This is all these Atlantean souls. They were coming back, trying to bring back the knowledge to wake the people up because they were asleep. They lost their bicameral mind. The bicameral mind fractured when Atlantis fell. The Earth grid fractured.
The bicameral mind
fractured. Communication was cut off. So these Pleadian beings, basically, this is...
I thought it was Pleadians.
They're Atlantis. This Atlantis was founded by Divine Feminine, which she was a princess from Sirius. So we're right about that. And that this is how all this evil got onto our planet, was because when Atlantis fell, it fractured the dimensions. So the second, it caused a tear. So the second dimension was able to get into the first. So basically, yeah, like it was a freaking hell on Earth, for real. So the reason that things are happening the way they are now is because we're in what's called a stellar activation cycle. And so we can get a lot of help from these other dimensions because the Stargates have been taken, everything has been taken over by this group.
Oh, Stargates. Believe sci-fi technology exists on the bingo card.
This Belial group. Just like all the stuff that's going on right now, you know, that's definitely animalistic in nature. It's because...
Sirius isn't part of the Pleiades. As far as humans know, aliens know, they've been to space.
They're animals. This is why they're organic, considered organic material. They can't get off of here without help. See, and so, you know, and we got to have help too. This is why we have to tune in our bodies, and we have to start looking at everything. I mean, we have to be super careful, and we have to start using the fire codes. And that was true, that the Tower of Babel was all about breaking up human beings from one collective into many and scrambling them, their languages. So they forgot the fire words, and they forgot how to read the symbols. But see, the Palladian beings, they built all this stuff into the buildings. You know, they built it into the architecture. That way it would wake us up when the time we got to a stellar activation cycle, where we could start getting some of the stuff because our DNA has been rewired. And see, this is why a lot of these family members kept marrying each other, is because
what?
They were Atlantean. And
I don't think you need to find a bigger reason behind incestuous marriages in the past. Human beings are just weird. Human beings are weird and had like weird misgivings about being pure bloodlines. Gag.
They were trying to keep the genetic markers because unless you had it genetic and it wasn't tinkered with, you couldn't channel it in. And see, they're trying to channel it all in, but nobody can get it because we're toxed out and pharmaceuticaled out and everything. I'm about to sneeze. Okay, I'm gonna hold it in. So anyway, I'm sorry. My allergies are inflamed today.
You don't have to apologize for sneezing. That sneeze sounded like a cough, though. That was a weird sneeze.
So, this is why we have to renounce all these...
By the way, underrated difficulty in transitioning is learning to sneeze more feminine. I'm not saying anyone has to do that. It's just something I cared about. Which is funny, considering my voice sounds like a truck driver. But I can sneeze pretty gently, so that's good.
and all of these things is because
these aren't nearly as satisfying, though. But it's a trade-off.
These people had contracts on their souls that were signed in blood. And they're working for these lower dimensional beings. So all this stuff has to be renounced. And so I'm going to write down the renouncement. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to read the whole thing out. So if you're not able to get the book or whatever, you can still do the renouncement, because we all need to know this stuff and everybody shouldn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get it, right? And, we got to support each other. Like, that's the one thing that always comes to me when I first started gardening, is that I would put something in the ground and I'd have to get a little support stick, and I'd hear a voice say, we all need support. Everything needs support, just like the mother. So with that, when you come and find me, I'll be here, because we're living in the past, present, and the future, all at the same time. Let's get outside today, put your feet in the grass, set your intentions. It's going to be a beautiful day, and you need to give thanks to our Heavenly Father and our Divine Mother, Mother Earth. So with that, I'll be back on another one so we can get this renouncement done, and everybody can get on the road to learning and remembering, right?
Creative imagination, I guess. Let's put a positive spin on that. By the way, I'm sorry for being self-deprecating. That's irresponsible of me. I have, body, dysphoria, and also kind of dysmorphia with my bodily features as well as my voice. I shouldn't take that out on stream, because I know I have a sizable amount of my audience that's trans, and that's not fair, because anytime I bring stuff that's my own insecurities, it might hurt other people. That's not cool. So I apologize. I'm trying to do better with that. Thank you, people who said nice things, but I apologize for bringing it up. Do I want the book she's referencing? Sure.
Telekinesis is defined as a psychic ability that allows someone to influence a physical system without physical interaction. The word comes from the ancient Greek words tele, meaning far off or at a distance, and kinesis, meaning motion.
Isn't that done by blowing air on it? Probably. I'm not sure about that specific trick, though. It's certainly not psychic ability, though.
Experiments to prove the existence of this and other psychic phenomena have been suppressed in the West, especially after World War II. But declassified documents reveal that research conducted by German, Russian, and other European organizations have been known to the CIA for many decades and covertly expanded on.
In that particular case, I'm guessing magnetic, but I don't know. Either way, it's a trick.
It's that everything is connected through a phenomena called quantum entanglement.
Oh god. I blame Deepak Chopra for this quantum crap. Ugh.
While I'm not a physicist or a religious guru, I am an anthropologist, compelled to pay attention to the ancient axioms laid forth by our ancestors.
I should point out, he's not like a real anthropologist. This guy, what's his name again? Robert Seffer. This guy's a white nationalist, who basically thinks that different races are actually different species with different origins. Like, he's, I wouldn't even call him a white nationalist. He's like a white supremacist globalist. Like, he wants basically only white people. It's not good. He's dog shit. He's a dog shit person.
Know thyself.
He uses a bunch of woo-woo bullshit to try to justify his ahistorical view of human origins and culture and all that stuff. Oh yeah, like 18th century racist, like, yeah.
The philosopher Rumi once said, "You're not a drop in the ocean. You're the entire ocean in a drop." I always took this quote to mean that while we all
Thank you, Harold Doubleman. I got the message with the book. Appreciate it.
have our own unique identity, we're also all connected, beyond our individual experiences, but part of something much larger, solitary aspects of the divine. I'm also reminded of Carl Jung's work regarding the collective unconscious, which also allegedly unites us all in an intimate psychic way, bordering on the field of parapsychology. The term parapsychology was coined in 1889.
Yeah, he was the guy who walked down that pier being weird.
By German philosopher Max de Swa, and is generally defined as the study of paranormal and psychic phenomena that can't be explained by scientific laws or data. The field focuses on investigating the existence and nature of these experiences and abilities, such as ESP, extrasensory perception, the ability to gain knowledge about other people's thoughts.
I'm sorry, Profane Priestess. I can move on. I don't have to watch this. I have other videos.
Thoughts or future events through channels outside of the five senses, such as telepathy and clairvoyance, and psychokinesis, which is the physical phenomena such as
I recognize this place from GTA 5.
Levitation of objects or bending metal, and other paranormal phenomena such as near-death or out-of-body experience.
I used to play so much GTA 5. I owned all the businesses, the most expensive club. Fun.
Experiences, including astral travel or remote viewing, lucid dreaming, and synchronicity, which is the occurrence of meaningful coincidences which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. In mystery schools and secret societies, techniques have been used for centuries which claim to heighten a person's psychic aptitude, facilitating more frequent occurrences of phenomena such as synchronicity, or a person can manifest their goals and desires through an unconscious...
Oh wow, this guy's just talking nonsense. You get me?
...lines of research which, unlike modern hypnosis, focused on an invisible bioelectromagnetic energy that could be harnessed.
Did Gutsick Gibbon do a video on him? I love Gutsick Gibbon. It's good. He deserves it. He sucks ass.
And used to influence people. In the East, this vital energy is known as chi. In India as prana. And
poor understanding of Eastern philosophy or religion on the bingo card.
In Germanic alchemical sects as vril. The
Did you just say Germanic alchemical sex?
CIA was also aware of the Soviet Union conducting research into psychic energy and methods of harnessing and extracting it for use in healing or possibly potentially weaponized. In this 1975 declassified document from the U.S. Department of Defense called Soviet and Czechoslovakian Parapsychology Research, it says, quote, psychotronic generators, also called Pavlita generators after the inventor, are...
Okay, I'm moving on from racist, non-anthropologist guy. He's actively boring me. This is a QAnon guy.
As always, I really do appreciate everybody.
I wanted to pick this video specifically for the beginning part where he talks about how isolating being a conspiracy theorist is, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So we'll listen to that part at least.
Out there taking the time to listen. So, as you can tell, I am cruising around this morning, and I'm going to do a little coffee chat. It's been a long time since I've done one in my vehicle, driving around, and there really is...
Also, you're welcome, Amber.
Something about... cruising around the same streets that I have been for the past 3.5 years with all of you since I started this journey. And it just has a...
Someone says, these fools don't understand the CIA being interested in psychic research didn't mean psychic powers are real. I would argue the fact that we know about it means they weren't. Like, there's a reason that those programs were declassified. It's because none of the research was fruitful in any way. I promise if they had developed actual psychic abilities in soldiers, we wouldn't hear about it. The CIA spent money to train cat spies, and the first test one got hit by a car, like, immediately after being released. What a shame.
A way of stirring up thoughts and emotions. helping me to really sort of conceptualize and articulate what's on my mind, what's in my heart. That's really what these shows have been all about. In so many ways, this was the format that started this platform. And I always have to go back to that. I don't think I'm ever going to look back with anything but gratitude and really amazement and awe at how all of this came together. And for those of you who are new, you probably haven't heard the story of the origin of my podcast and so forth, but there are many people out there who indeed have been with me right from the beginning. And they've heard me tell that story many times. I have to say that of all the comments that I get, and I get a lot of people writing to me,
NSC3399,
and
thanks
most
for
of them
following.
are just incredibly beautiful and supportive and loving. But the ones that matter the most to me, if you really want the truth, from the people who have been there right from the beginning and who are still listening. And the reason for that is because, the origins of my show, my channel, are very humble. Very first video I did was, I look back on them now and I just, I kind of chuckle to myself because my show has grown, and in so many ways the quality has improved in terms of my overall presentation with the audio and with the video and all of that. But I was raw. My show was raw when I first started it out. And I didn't really care about what I was saying. I didn't really care about the audio quality. I didn't care about any of that stuff. The only thing I cared about was delivering a message from my heart to yours. And there are so many people, I'm fortunate because there are so many people who have stuck with me. And it's been a journey, it's been a ride, but the people who decided to listen at a time in my life when nobody else would, the people that I loved the most, the people that had built my entire life around, they wanted no part of listening to what was in my heart. The same things that I talk about on my show, that I spoke about in those days, these were, in essence, the conversations that I was trying to have with the people that I love. And they all rejected it. And I think that most of you out there know that feeling. We've all been isolated, and we've all paid a heavy price just being who we are, just being awake, being committed to the truth, being unwilling to turn away.
I find it so interesting that he's able to reflect on this and reflect on the time he spent spinning conspiratorial stuff, believing these things, recognizing that he's isolated himself from everyone who used to matter from him. And it's almost like he's wearing it like a badge of honor. Like, he went through all of this, so it must be worth it, you know? He's commiserating with his audience about this because many of them, sharing the same beliefs, have gone through a similar process of self-isolation. So now all they have as a support group are these people on the internet who believe the same stuff that they do. Keeps them from reconsidering their conspiratorial beliefs. It's how people can get really entrenched in these, like, bizarre alternate realities of information, of misinformation bubbles. Sucks.
But we've also seen enormous blessings as a result of it. And I mean, who knew? I never had any idea that a simple audio recording or series of audio recordings would then lead to what it's led to. And the choices that we make dictate the life that we lead. And I had no idea that by making that simple choice, by listening to God's prompting and not allowing fear or anything to get in the way, I just finally realized that there's got to be somebody out there who wants to hear what I have to say. Not because have all the answers, not because I'm some genius or anything along those lines, but there's got to be people out there who feel the same way I do.
Bad. All right, moving on. Penekagami says, question for people that believe psychic powers are real and the government knows. Don't you think the governments would hire all the psychics in the world so they could use the powers against their enemies? Not to mention the rich. Any psychic the peasants would have access to would either be frauds or so low quality and power they aren't worth it to the elite class. It's actually interesting world building, a world where psychics exist, and the best ones are rich and all work for the wealthy, and the kind of shitty ones are poor. Interesting world building concept. I don't know.
The supernatural is a government psyop. The big
psyop on the bingo card.
Bamboozle, whether that be hauntings, possessions, ghosts, cults, Satanism, all of it. It's all created. And I've told you since the beginning of this channel, since the inception of this channel, that military intelligence and psychological operations departments, in cooperation with Hollywood, which is an arm of these psychological operations departments, have been promoting the paranormal and the supernatural intentionally to cover up events that are happening, to cover up shenanigans that are happening.
So this conspiracy theory is multiple layers deep. They don't believe in the supernatural, which is good. I don't think the supernatural exists either. But they seem to believe that the belief in the supernatural is a governmental constructed conspiracy. I promise you, human beings have never needed governments to come in to make them believe things that are not true.
I want to get into that. I'm going to prove it to you. But before that, we need to understand a couple events that started back in the late 60s, early 70s, and are going on today. One thing that you need to understand is the Phoenix program. This started back in the late 1960s. And what it was basically was shock and awe. They were training soldiers who were clearly chosen because they were psychotic to go into Vietnamese territory, hunt down these enemies, and shock and awe them by raping, pillaging, setting up bodies in ritualistic ways, exactly like serial killers. Let me play you a clip from an interview with Dave McGowan from a while back.
Classic example of the latter would be a guy like Arthur Shawcross, who was a Phoenix program assassin in Vietnam. Like 43 kills, which were, just these barbaric crimes that he committed that, involved, rape and mutilation and leaving.
Yeah, that's disgusting. The United States government has done terrible, terrible things. That doesn't mean that they invented the concept of ghosts. Like, does this guy know that the concept of ghosts and the supernatural predates the American government by literally all of human history before it? Like, believing in the supernatural is kind of like a pretty big human thing. It's existed in humans since before we invented civilization, as far as we can tell. So the idea that, like, this is a new thing is kind of wild when it feels like supernatural explanations are sort of human beings' default. Learning to use reason and naturalistic, like, explanatory power is a relatively new development in human thought. So I don't know, I find it weird that he thinks that, like, the American government invented the concept of the supernatural as a psyop. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Own life. And that just depends on the person and the script. There are only about a dozen scripts. They're like Mad Libs.
I prefer EPUB or PDF for my books. PDF I would find easier, but I can find readers for either.
Just add something, change something. Very minor details are changed. It is the same script over and over and over. Replace demon with God, replace God with demon, replace demons with aliens, replace aliens with ghosts, replace ghosts with angels, replace angels and ghosts with your neighbor doing it to you. Replace the neighbor with a coworker, replace the coworker with a family member, keep going and going. Do you see what I mean? It's only the small details that change. It's Mad Libs. The scripts are all the same. If you realize this and you look at all these cases, they are always identical in almost every way.
I don't think that's true. Looking at different kinds of paranormal experiences tend to follow different specific cultural narratives. So, like, there's a specific cultural narrative in the United States about what an alien is. You know, we have a specific pop cultural idea that is sort of shared culturally of, like, the little gray aliens with the big eyes and probing being taken up onto a ship, and there's, like, a light, and, like, these are sort of fictional elements that we recognize as being part of that narrative, and people, for one reason or another, due to delusions or lies or whatever, often delusions, things like sleep paralysis dreams that they don't recognize as dreams, or other things, these narratives will play out for them from their perspective, and they may think they're real, like Peter, for instance, who we've covered before and believes he was abducted. But that narrative is very different than the narrative like a haunting. Hauntings tend to come with their own specific narrative things. Marks showing up on people, things moving from one place to another, like people in the home being injured inexplicably, scratches appearing, communication from the dead. Like, there are specific cultural, like, touchstones that exist within different categories of supernatural experience that we understand from hearing about them. Does that make sense? So to say they're all the same is weird. I don't quite get what he means by that. Okay, moving on again. Remember, we are doing a patron and YouTube member only live stream after this show. We're going to be going a little shorter today, so we're probably getting close to the end here, so we have time for that. We're going to do some horror movie trivia, then watch some spooky Halloween whatever stuff, maybe some old ads or TV specials, public domain movie, whatever. It'll be a fun spooky time.
Very upset and asked him. She asked him, "Can I steal your identity?" His response was just no. Her next question was, "Can I eat your soul?" You know, when he was expressing it to us, he was crying, he was very upset, and he said, you know, what? No.
She said the photographer mentioned being a demon.
Her response was, well, demons don't eat noodles.
The whole thing concerned her.
You can say all the things.
Note to self, don't become a demon. Apparently carbs aren't on the menu. That's basically my entire reason for living. Celine, Haley Celine, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. Excited. Hope to see you at the Patreon and members only live stream.
You want to say about good versus evil and God versus...
When I start the patron only live stream in a little bit, Haley, if you want the link, make sure you check your creator, what is it called? The post, your creator, like, post, the, what the heck is it called? Why am I blanking? Community tab. Check the community tab for the link. We did it.
Is the devil or demons or whatever, but at the end of the day, what was said was not funny and it wasn't okay. It was a child in an uncomfortable situation.
She says her child told a teacher and wrote out a report.
It went to the principal, who is amazing. I will say, like, the school handled it. We so appreciate how they were very quick. They immediately escorted her off the premises and they called us.
Grateful of the school's response, she said that it confirmed her son did the right thing, as other kids said similar things.
It's a very scary situation to be a parent and know that your child was put in an uncomfortable situation, but then hearing that he was so bold to to know that, like, this isn't okay, something isn't right, we need to say something, and he did.
She's hopeful the incident will encourage other parents to talk to their kids about saying something when things don't feel right.
Hey guys, it's KJ from The Scariest Movie Ever. As many of you know and realize, we're living at a very important time in world history. We are literally living in the doorstep of tribulation.
Say this all the time. Christians, not every Christian, but since the origin of Christianity, there have been groups of Christians that have believed that they were it, they were the final generation. None of them have been right. None of them have been right. So please stop.
We're living in a time where we're witnessing the separation of the sheep and the goats, the wheat and the tares. It's happening right now before our very eyes. People are changing, some for the better, some closer to the Lord, and some for the worse, holding on to this world. Understanding that we're in those times, it's no surprise that the spiritual warfare is crazy these days. I know that many of you, including myself, has undergone spiritual attacks. The only way to really remedy this or to battle back is to draw close to the Lord. As the Bible says, stay armored up in these days. I find these concepts...
Aw, Sloth says just like how every new generation is the worst generation. I'm going mad as I'm starting to see millennials shit-talk Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Like, did we not already have this discussion not to be like boomers? Did we not have this discussion collectively as millennials to not fucking do this shit? And not be like, oh, their new music or their comedy thing, I don't get it, so it's terrible, and their brains are all rotted. You not remember when they said that shit about us? I feel like I'm taking fucking crazy pills. Peeplord says, I might not be Christian, but I'm positive I'm the final generation if my second vasectomy has anything to say about it.
Reflected in modern media. I've been showing you this for many years. The devil and his minions have to tell us what they're going to do before they do it. And one of their most popular ways of doing this is through modern media, movies and television. I recently have watched several movies and I noticed a lot of things in these movies I wanted to share with you today in this video. These are reflections of the time we're in. The beast system manifests in practically everything these days as we draw closer to the final 7 years of this system. Each of these movies are filled with predictive programming, occult law, satanic Illuminati symbolism.
Wow, this is getting a lot of things off the bingo. We already got them, but if we had watched this first, it would have checked off half the boxes.
Themes, subliminals, hidden messages. These are the days we're in. Entertainment isn't just for entertainment. Not now. Not in 2024. Hardcore propaganda. Hardcore predictive programming. Major mind control taking place right now. I'll start off with a film I recently watched called Azrael. Azrael is a movie which is really interesting. It takes place after the rapture, some years after the rapture. This movie is not really sticking close to the Bible as far as how this is going to take place, what it's going to look like afterwards, nothing like that. It's a small community you're with in this movie. And it starts off like this. I'll show you the very beginning right here.
Comment on this because I haven't seen this movie. I gotta see if he talks about any movies I have seen. What, does he talk about the penguin?
Again, this is sympathy. They're still doing the devil. And this new TV series, The Penguin, I've had a chance to see a few episodes of this, and it's another example of sympathy for the devil. This is...
Sorry, X-Force.
A very common theme in modern entertainment. We see people doing really wicked, evil things, but they're portrayed as a good guy. You know, it's like you get to understand them a little bit. Hey, you know, they're
Are you familiar with the concept of an anti-hero or like an outright villainous protagonist? I'm begging people to understand the difference between a hero and a protagonist. They are not the same thing.
killing people for their family or whatever, right? It's like they always come up with a reason that seems to be noble, but they're still murderers. They're abusive. They're cruel. Again, this is sympathy for the devil. So that's what we find with the Penguin, who's an evil character. But, you know, you get to know him a little bit in the...
I haven't seen the Penguin yet, by the way, so don't spoil it.
So I'm going to show you how they did this. Also connect...
from Beetlejuice. I haven't seen Beetlejuice. Okay, is there anything else I desperately want to take a look before we call it a night and I go to the patrons?
There are a lot of things in the culture right now that are pointing to the coming of the Antichrist. And one of the things that has just populated in the news and on social media recently is not something that you would expect. You know, we talk about the entertainment industry and how the devil's running rampant in all these different spheres. You have things like P. Diddy being exposed for sex trafficking and being arrested, and who's going to be exposed as well on his list. And all of these things are coming together. But would you imagine that some of the most prominent, quote-unquote, Christian leaders are also possibly the ones who are going to be ushering in this Antichrist spirit, this one world government, this one world currency, and this one world religion? Well, in the clip I'm about to share with you right now, this should wake you up. If you're part of the Catholic Church, you need to understand that there's a spirit behind what's going on in the Catholic Church that is not the spirit of God, but is very likely the spirit of the Antichrist. Before I jump into that clip, though,
the continual Protestant v. Catholic beef will never not be funny to me.
I want to share with you that this video is brought to you by 3 Nails Clothing. If you enjoy
chilling on the bingo card,
the clothing that I'm wearing in almost every single video, shirts, lowers, sleeper, when you look, he's going to have to. This stuff is really the best. Now, let's dive into this clip right here of the Pope. Listen to what he says. This is going to be, I want you to hold on tight, guys. He's going to have to, you know, he's speaking in Italian, and then you're going to hear some translation. But the weight of what he's saying is so consequential for the global church to understand. What he says in this clip is 100% heretical, blasphemous, and I believe inspired by the Antichrist. And you'll see why. Listen to what he says in this clip.
È una delle cose che più mi ha colpito di voi giovani.
We had recording in car. Don't know if we had word salad.
La capacità del dialogo interreligioso.
One of the things that struck me about all of you here is your ability to engage in interreligious dialogue.
Oh, he's gonna be upset that the Pope isn't, like, calling for the death of other religions?
And this is very important.
Perché se voi incominciate a litigare, la mia religione è più importante della tua, la mia è la vera, la tua non è vera, dove ci porta questo?
Because if we start to fight amongst ourselves and saying, my religion is more important than yours, my religion is true, yours is not, where will that lead us?
Dove?
Where will it lead us?
Qualcuno risponda, dove?
I've thought about this before, and I've wondered. There's a lot of course, historically conflict between different religions, even religions that are, like, you know, relatively close to each other, like the Abrahamic faiths. And I do wonder, as religion, hopefully as its influence wanes in public society, not to say people won't be religious, but maybe less of it interacting directly with politics, it does make me wonder if more religions will get cozier with each other because it no longer becomes religion versus religion. It becomes more secular society, and then religion is its own category over here, where they have similar interests. You know what I mean?
Respond. Where would it lead us? La distruzione.
Così.
So the Pope is speaking at, I think it's a multi or interfaith conference in Singapore. It's an interreligious youth conference with the people of Singapore and Pope Francis. And what did he just say? He said, if we're going to say one religion is better than any other religion, then that is going to lead to destruction. Let me know right off the bat, with that comment, are you in agreement with what he's saying? Do you think that all paths lead to heaven? Do you think that all religions are kind of on an equal playing field and we need to stop being so bigoted and we need to start being more tolerant of each other's beliefs? Let me know in the comments right now what you believe.
That would be good.
Genuinely, let's make this a conversation. Keep it civil, but please share what you believe down below. And I'll share what I believe shortly.
Oh my god, sorry. The top comment is, it's easy to push ecumenism, the idea that all religions are worshipping the same god, when the papacy invented every religion, but not true faith in Christ. So I guess that person thinks that the Catholic Church invented all world religions, including the ones that predate Catholicism? Cool.
It's okay to discuss and to...
Tutte le religioni sono un cammino per arrivare a Dio.
Okay. This guy can fuck off.
Again, I want to prompt you to consider why people will accept the mark of the beast. One might think that...
I'm gonna save this for next week. One seemed interesting. I don't think we've gotten a bingo today, but it's time for us to be done, so I guess I'm gonna do a random bingo win. Thank you everyone for hanging out, by the way. I appreciate it. I'm just saving some of this stuff for next week. Have we been to the moon? Sure. Third Adam. One's pretty good. So thanks everyone for hanging out. I am going to be doing the Patreon and YouTube member-only live stream right after this. Like I said, we're going to be playing some horror movie trivia, and then looking at some spooky Halloween stuff for fun. So should be a good time, should be enjoyable. And yeah, let's see who we're going to raid on Twitch. Let me gift that random sub real quick. Here we go. Rock Future looks like won the gift sub, so that's cool. We'll raid KF Logan, and I'm gonna go get ready for the patron stream. Have a great night, everyone. Sweet dreams, etc. Be cool. I'll see you tomorrow for some kind of stream. Have a great night. See you soon if you're a patron or a YouTube member. Bye-bye.